PHNX D-backs pod. Much like the Arizona Diamondbacks, our stuff isn't working. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another edition of the PHNX D-backs postgame show right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I am your mayor of PHNX, and I'm joined by my vice mayor, my friend, my co-host in this thing we call sadness. It's the one and only Jesse Friedman.
I was a little disappointing, Derek. I think we were hoping we wouldn't see a position player on the mound in the fourth game of the season. That's not exactly what I think any Diamondbacks fans had envisioned for this weekend.
It's never a good sign, Jesse. But of course, this show is brought to you by the fine folks at the Draftkings Sportsbook app. Go download the Draftkings Sportsbook app now and get down on the NBA playoffs action by betting on the play-in tournament with Draftkings Sportsbook. New customers can bet $5 on any team to win and get $150 in free bets instantly. Let's talk about it, Jesse. Caleb Smith had a very, very bad day today for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and he is the guy that Torey Lovullo seemed to overwhelmingly feel like was their fifth starter for this rotation.
Yeah, they had a lot of faith in Caleb Smith, and Torey Lovullo seemed very confident going to him in the rotation to start the season. Somewhat of a similar story last year where he wound up in the starting rotation and was very, very bad against the Padres in his first outing. Last year, that resulted in Caleb Smith being removed immediately from the starting rotation and being moved into the bullpen. So it remains to be seen what exactly the Diamondbacks' plans are. But given that Corbin Martin was pretty good today out of the bullpen, I don't think it's out of the question that the Diamondbacks might have him take the start when this spot comes up next in the rotation. So I'm sure Torey will be asked about that after the game, and we'll have to see what he says.
I think the thing here is that the Diamondbacks didn't really have a definitive fifth starter, right? We talked about a lot of the competition in camp for that, but
yeah,
Caleb Smith honestly seemed to run away with it, at least in Torey Lovullo's mind. He seemed very convinced that Caleb Smith was their guy. This is one start, right? It's kind of like what we've seen from a couple of guys on this team. There's a lot of nerves. There's a lot of, as it was told to me, old wounds, still healing for some of these guys, and just in regards to their confidence and their ability to believe in themselves. But
yeah,
I mean, definitely we're in a position now where, I don't know how long Caleb Smith has as far as a starter if he can't get things back on track. And I'm not saying that he needs to be lights out, but where he was at today, and talk about it, a tale of two different innings. The first inning, he looked so sharp.
He was great. Yeah.
The second inning, everything just fell apart.
Yeah, it was very much a very abrupt change there for him. And it seemed like some of his past issues seemed to creep back up a little bit. I know Brent Strom came out in the middle of the inning and visited with him. Steve Berthume on the broadcast had been talking about how a big issue for Caleb Smith last season was pitches sailing up and away arm side from right-handed hitters. And that seemed to happen again in the game today where he was just missing over and over again. It started with an error. It started with Ketel Marte misplaying a ball at second base, which unfortunately has become a bit of a trend. Ketel has really been pretty brutal at second base to start the season. And then, a couple walks and a blast later, and, it's already a 4-0 game.
This is similar to what happened yesterday when Christian Walker was unable to turn that double play.
Right.
Instantly, like after that, it wasn't just the fact that Ketel Marte made that error. It was like once Marte made that error, it was like the air was let out of the defensive balloon for the entire team at that point. And again, not just on defense. Then it carried over to their bats. They looked very solemn. They looked very sad right away. And I get it. It's a big deficit, right? But if you look at the overall big picture of how this game ended, if the team would have been able to hold the Padres to just those 5 runs, and I know that's a big if, but if the bullpen and the relievers could have come in and at least mopped up the mess and held the Padres to 5, we might still be watching baseball right now in extra innings.
That's fair. Yeah, Cooper Hummel with a big 3-run home run. I know
Our
we'll
guy.
talk about. Yeah, that was a fun, at least a high note to end a very, very rough game and a pretty rough series on. So it was good to see not only him but Jake McCarthy get his first hit. Drew Ellis got his first hit of the season as
Yeah.
well.
I
So
like Jake
some good
McCarthy a
things
lot
at
too.
some good things at the end of the game to take away from this one.
By the way, when I say I like players, typically what that means now is that they were nice to me. That's pretty much all that means. It doesn't even mean you can't judge how good they're going to be as a player based on me saying that, because it really is just who's nice to me. But Brandon
Right.
Buckingham brings up a great point, and he says only one starting pitcher went 5 innings this weekend. Not good. What I'll what I'll go ahead and say on top of that is that the one starting pitcher that did go 5 innings this weekend was the one guy we fucking didn't think was going to go 5 innings at all. We thought he was going to have the shortest outing of all, and that's Zach Davies, based on the fact that he wasn't much behind the other starting pitchers, but he was just like a few days behind, a start behind, based on the trade and coming in Arizona and everything that occurred with him during the spring training season. And he was actually pretty damn good for this team. So, at this point, the Diamondbacks really need to assess who they can count on. I think both in the bullpen and on the mound as a starting pitcher, but also let us as the fans be reactionary. I think the Diamondbacks need to take some more time before being too reactionary. I don't know if removing
Yeah.
Caleb Smith from the starting rotation right away is the best
Yeah.
idea. I don't think that that's good for his psyche. I don't think it's good for the team, but I'm also not giving him 5 starts like this.
Right. Right. I think that's a totally fair point. And I suspect, knowing what we know about Torey, that's probably what he'll do. Last season, it was pretty surprising to see him nix Caleb Smith from rotation after just the one start. But it feels this year like the Diamondbacks were just very committed to him in this spot and really felt like he earned this spot out of the gate. And if you're saying those kinds of things, it seems weird to, immediately pull the plug after one bad outing.
Sure.
And
Which
admittedly, it was a very bad outing. I mean, it was brutal. Caleb was just all over the place in that second inning, and the Diamondbacks really had no choice but to get him out of the game because he just couldn't throw strikes. And when he was throwing strikes, they were sliders right down the middle, and they were getting hit really hard. So it was a really bad outing, but I think you're right that the Diamondbacks will probably keep him in the rotation for now. Knowing that Corbin Martin and what we saw from him today, he might have an opportunity sooner than later as well.
Motion says in our comments, good thing the series is finally over. And I want to say something about that really fast, because it was kind of like this game. I got very excited, even though I'm not big on getting excited when players get injured. But when Snell went down, it was kind of an opportunity like, hey, all right,
Yeah,
this
we
is
got
a good
this.
chance
Yeah.
for the D-backs to pounce on their relievers, on their bullpen. The fucking Padres relievers are incredible. You had one guy out here throwing 99 at will. And I mean,
I think
was
there were
excited.
multiple guys throwing 99.
They're throwing multiple guys throwing 99. I was excited about one guy in our bullpen, Corbin Martin, being able to hit 97. Like that was a big moment for me. That just goes to show the difference between these pitching staffs, because it's not just the starters for the Padres, it's their bullpen. They're very good. You have to give credit where credit is due. And, honestly, that's one of those situations where, like, I just want to see them play another team, right?
Yeah.
Let us get through the road trip with New York and DC after playing the Astros, which are still a very good team, but it's the Astros, and they've kind of lost some key pieces. The Mets are very, very good, and the Nationals aren't. So I think that we should reserve judgment until the end of the Nationals, and then we can reassess how truly bad we think this team is. I think the Padres, again, deserve the credit of being pretty damn good in the series against the Diamondbacks, but the Diamondbacks may have helped them look very good in this series. Today they had lots of walks. They were being patient. It just wasn't translating over into runs or any kind of real danger that they could put the Padres in at times until late in the game, until basically the ninth inning, where they scored the majority of their runs and made this look like a much closer game than it really was.
I want to go back and touch on the beginning of this game. You mentioned Blake Snell suddenly being scratched from the start for the Padres, and that was a big surprise. It did not seem like the Diamondbacks had any notice in advance that that was going to happen. I believe he went out and threw his warm up tosses, and then
Yeah.
apparently it just didn't. It wasn't meant to be, and they decided to go to a guy out of the bullpen instead. And the Diamondbacks were noticeably not happy about that from what we've heard from the ballpark. Nick Picoro tweeted that the Diamondbacks bench and I believe Torey Lovullo himself were not pleased with that, which is fair. The Diamondbacks crafted their lineup to face a tough lefty, and instead of getting a tough lefty, they wound up with a righty out of the bullpen, and it
Yeah.
was obviously the Diamondbacks have a big problem against lefties, so maybe you feel like that would be a good thing for them. But on the other hand, the way that they constructed their lineup was very, very different than the way that they would have constructed it had a righty been on the mound. So they were noticeably not happy about that from the beginning. And I'll be
Which is
curious to
funny
see what
because
Torey has to say.
I'm sure the Padres weren't happy about Blake Snell, one of their, top acquisitions and keys to this
Sure.
team beating the Dodgers in the NL West, going down with tightness in his left adductor. But it's like, I
Right.
mean, this is an injury that he's experienced before, and this guy's very important to what they're doing. So, like, I get it though. I mean, it's
Yeah.
baseball is one of those sports where you kind of prepare in a certain way for a certain lineup, for a certain matchup. And yeah, things got screwed up there for the Diamondbacks. I just don't know if that's why they went out there and had yet another poor performance offensively, right?
Yeah. It's not
That's
really a valid excuse for the kind
it's
of
not.
offensive
It's
performance
not.
that they had for as many innings as they did. It's just,
It's
yeah,
not.
they didn't
That
hit well today, and that's the end of the story there.
that's the truth. So again, as I've instructed people to do, go check out our partner OG's brands for days like this, because OG's will help you get over the losses. OG's is one of Arizona's first original scratch made cannabis kitchens and is dedicated to creating innovative and memorable cannabis infused products that flavors life's journeys. And that's their motto. It's flavoring life. It's what it's all about. You can get tropical with their tropical fruit flavors, including guava, strawberry kiwi, raspberry orange, and pina colada. The pina colada, Jesse, oh, it's really good. And it's funny because one of our guys, Sean DePaz, loves the gummies, but he can't take them with THC in it, much like understandably a lot of people can. And he really just wants a bag of their gummies without THC in them because they're just so delicious. They're light, they're flavorful, they're yummy. And of course, you can go to OGEEZbrands.com to find out more information on where you can get OGs near you. That's OGsbrands.com. And yeah, go try their amazingly delicious variety of flavors. And I got some right here, Jesse, and that's probably what I'm going to do once we're done lamenting about the Arizona Diamondbacks, because obviously the Diamondbacks have yet, and I get there was a lot of comments on our Twitter about like, what did you expect, and all of this kind of
Right.
stuff.
They're gonna
But
win fewer games this year than they did last
yeah,
year, and
right.
yes.
Like I'm not disagreeing with a lot of that, but I'm also saying
Yeah.
it's a bit much early on. I think that it's gonna be a slow start. I think they really need to get over, as it's been put, some old issues that they've had and believe in themselves a little bit more. Mark Solaire in our comments says, though, all I'm saying is since that girl kissed Derek, we have lost. I don't like the way the direction is going. I was not at the stadium today, and it was one of their worst losses. So I'm not taking this. I'm not taking this, and I'm not blaming any of this on me. I'm not taking this abuse in any way. But I will say that it was good to see some of the guys get on board. Christian Walker had a home run. Most importantly, later on, our guy Cooper Hummel had his first major league hit, and it was a home run, and that's pretty special. It's exciting to see somebody like that. It's just, again, he's one of those guys. I say I like him, but he's got a great attitude. He's just a great kid, and
He
you
takes his
want to see all the.
walks. That's for sure.
What's that?
He takes his walks. He had a lot of
Yeah.
very patient at
Well,
bats before hitting that home run at the end of the game.
and the Diamondbacks as a whole have been working towards being more patient at the plate and trying to elevate the number of pitches they're seeing. In fact, that was one of their worst traits last season at the Dish. Was they were one of the worst teams in the league for a number of pitches seen in each at bat. And now already at this point of this season, they're average, right? So it's baby steps in the right direction. It's learning from these coaches. And, again, the gamble here was that the coaches that they hired could make the team better. So far, we haven't seen, we saw the acquisitions and Ian Kennedy and Mark Melancon not be able to hold a runless inning and do their job. So the acquisitions haven't worked out. And we haven't really seen a lot of the coaching translate onto a better performance onto the field. It just doesn't happen instantly. These coaches haven't had a lot of time with these guys, whereas other teams have. I think a question about the Padres were, why were their starters able to go longer? Let's just say it, as a whole, the Padres seem better prepared right now than the Diamondbacks are. Obviously, they're a more talented team. We know they have bigger names. We know they have bigger arms, but more than that, because the Diamondbacks honestly did a pretty good job of hanging with them. It was just how prepared they were, and it was the mistakes that the Diamondbacks made versus the lack of mistakes on the Padres side. It was the starting pitching's ability to go further, except in this game. And even in this game, Chris Matt was nasty, and he was able to last a pretty decent amount of time. So was Corbin Martin, though. Corbin Martin almost went, I think, 80 pitches for the Diamondbacks. So, another guy that came in relief and a long relief situation and did a great job.
Yeah, Corbin Martin, 4 innings, 2 hits, 3 runs, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Overall, I thought he pitched pretty well. It definitely wasn't the kind of outing that was like, oh my gosh, there's no way Caleb Smith is making his next start, because Corbin Martin was so dominant that, he certainly has to get that spot the next time around. But he certainly showed, what he could do, and he pitched a pretty good game. I thought his command was a little bit shaky at times. It seemed like his fastball command was a little bit inconsistent in this one. But nonetheless, a pretty decent showing for a guy who could be a factor for the Diamondbacks moving forward. Corbin Martin's a guy we've been talking about for a long time, ever since they got him in the Zach Greinke trade. And it's fun to finally see him on the mound, as you said earlier, throwing 97 miles an hour and giving us something to be excited about.
I was literally breaking down film for my dogs and my wife, Jesse, during the Corbin Martin strikeout of Manny Machado.
That was in the bat. Yeah.
It was just such a sweet 3-pitch sequence. The way that he threw the 95-mile-an-hour strike high in the zone, might have been questionable. If Machado laid off, it might have been a ball, but it was up there. It was close. Then he comes back with a 90-mile-per-hour slider that cuts in, towards Machado, and then he throws the 97-mile-per-hour fastball out of the zone that Machado can't reach. But like, that slider set up that 97-mile-per-hour fastball so nicely, and I was losing my shit, because again, this Corbin Martin, this is the guy that we've been wanting to see, and he didn't disappoint. He made some mistakes, and I don't know I don't know if those pass balls or wild pitches, they were pass balls, right? Those, because Carson Kelly did not look like he was doing a good job of getting down on those.
They were technically wild pitches, both of them, but Carson Kelly didn't do what he probably could have done. I think a lot of the times when a guy throws a wild pitch, technically the blame goes on the pitcher, but a lot of the time the catcher really could have done a better job getting in front. And I think that was the case there.
But he did do a good job of coming out and pitching, Carson Kelly, by the way.
He did, yes.
Chris Melton says in our comments, you didn't love that filthy 66-mile-per-hour slider from Carson. And yes, I did. But I also don't feel like if you're not doing a good job at your position, you should get to play another one. I don't know. That's just me. But maybe moving him around was the smart thing to do. I have seen Torey Lovullo take a lot of criticism so far. What are your thoughts? Justified or not?
Yeah, I saw someone earlier say Bob Melvin is better than Torey Lovullo in our comments, which, I mean, Bob Melvin is kind of a legend, so I think he's better than a lot of managers out there. But right. I honestly did have a bit of an issue with Carson Kelly coming out and pitching. It's the 4th game of the season. The Diamondbacks have an off day tomorrow, so there's no argument that can be made here that they didn't have anyone who was able to pitch.
Right.
Out of the bullpen. They absolutely did. They have 2 extra pitchers right now. They have an off day tomorrow. You definitely could have used a reliever. I just think it sets a bad precedent for this team moving forward that, hey, we're rolling with our catcher on the mound in the 4th game of the season. And granted, I mean, you're down by 9 runs, and the Diamondbacks made a nice comeback, but they still weren't cutting into a 9-run deficit in 1 inning. But yeah, I'm not so sure about that motion, unfortunately. Yeah, motion's wondering if Carson Kelly could be the next Shohei Ohtani. I don't know if we're quite at that
Not there
point,
yet.
but
No.
I didn't like it, Derek. I really think the Diamondbacks should try to be competitive and really mean it early on in the season.
And yeah, I mean, it does feel like you're making a mountain out of a molehill a bit there, but you're right. Like it's only a mountain out of a molehill because Carson Kelly didn't give up any runs, right? But had he given up 3 more,
he was fine. He was fine. I mean, he was one of the more effective relievers at
right,
the
right.
end of the
He
game.
really was. He really was. But I'm just saying, if he would have given up 3 runs, then it's a completely different story, right?
It's
Because
all about the look of it. Like, it's all about the optics of putting in a position
the
player.
perception of that you're
Exactly.
waving the white flag, essentially. When
Exactly.
your
Yeah.
team was able to come up and put up more runs in the 9th, once again, they've scored more runs in the 9th inning of this series than they have the entire rest of the game. And
Yeah.
it's a bit frustrating because you see them still have that resolve, that ability to put up some runs, and not just like 1 or 2. They put up 4 runs, and honestly, that's a pretty decent amount of runs. Like, if they would have been able to hold this game a bit closer, that would have been more significant, right? But also, if Carson Kelly gives up 3 and makes it a 13-1 game, then you're just kind of like, dude, you might as well not have even come out for the bottom of the 9th. You might as well just wrapped it up after 8, you know? But that's understandable criticism, and I understand when people are angry. I definitely do. I myself, Jesse, obviously, I try to breathe. I try to do some yoga. I try not let it bother me. It's a 162 game season, so guys, we have plenty of time to be angry. But I will say you gotta drink some water and take some athletic greens. By the way, I started taking athletic greens, our partner here at PHNX, because they became our partner, but also because as I've talked about before, I've had some issues with my esophagus and, just kind of having heartburn a bit and things like that. And I can't tell you guys how much better athletic greens has made me feel. I take it in the morning. I feel like I'm actually taking care of myself with their 75 high quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source, superfoods, probiotics, adaptions, all that stuff. I'm not good at taking care of myself, so I need somebody to help me out. And Athletic Greens is that for me. It's my tag team partner in making sure that I don't die sooner than I should. But Athletic Greens is a no-brainer, honestly. It supports better sleep quality and recovery, which is huge for me. I've been getting much better night's sleep. I don't know about you guys. I wake up every single day just about at like 4:00 in the morning for absolutely no reason, and I hate that. I can't stand that. So but yeah, it does help me sleep better. It's got over 7,000 5-star reviews, and more than anything, it costs you less than $3 a day. Plus, you're investing in you, your health, your body, you living a better life. So to make it easy, Athletic Greens is giving you 1 free year supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/Diamondbacks. Again, that is athleticgreens.com/Diamondbacks to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. And yes, that's insurance. Insurance runs. It's insurance runs for your life, basically, much like the Padres tacked on against the Arizona Diamondbacks today, because some of those runs were so unnecessary. Like we said, the wild pitches from Corbin Martin, like
Yeah,
at
that was so
times those,
disheartening. 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs, and then back-to-back wild pitches, and the
yeah.
hitter winds up popping out later in the inning. That was rough.
And I mean, again, like the Padres, they did what they needed to do, right? But man, when we talk about the mistakes and how the mistakes piled up and compounded into this loss, it really is. I mean, again, we're gonna beat this drum all year long because I'm sure it's going to continue to be Lovullo's motto and one of his mantras. But like the winning the inches stuff, they're not. They're not winning the inches. They're
No.
not making those
Yeah.
critical plays that are the differences right now between wins and losses.
No, they're not. Yeah, the Diamondbacks have come out and, not only did they get outplayed by the Padres in this series, but there was just mistake after mistake after mistake. And particularly yesterday, the game yesterday, we talked a lot about all those different things that happened. But yeah, in this game, it just seemed to continue with the wild pitches, with Ketel Marte's error. I'm a little concerned about Ketel defensively, Derek. What we've seen from him at a second base, it just
I
seems
am
like
too.
when the ball is hit hard his way, I don't know, he just doesn't really seem to know what to do with it for whatever reason. And I guess the good news there is it seems probably fixable. It seems like his mechanics of how he's moving laterally on those types of plays is just not really working. And maybe that's something that he can iron out and get figured out before the season goes on. But yeah, certainly not a good sign for, a guy the Diamondbacks have extended for a number of years and hope to have around here for a long time.
Brett Johnson says that's what happens when you force your second baseman to play center field for 2 years. So frustrating, man. And yeah, I mean, again, I'll say
Could
this:
be, yeah.
we know Ketel Marte is a talented guy, right? And we
Yeah.
know he has also gone through some injuries, gone through some ups and downs in his young career already. Had that change to position. Look, we have no choice but to give this team some more time to try to grow and be better, because when you compare it to the Padres, those guys over there have been doing their thing. They had their rough year
Yeah.
last year, right? They're trying to bounce back too. To them, they had a 59 and 100 and freaking 50 loss season because of the expectations for that team last year and where they ended up finishing. So that team probably has a chip on their shoulder, and they're also trying to perform at a high level, very clean baseball with few mistakes, and they did against this team. To be
Yeah.
honest, the one benefit or the one thing that you could see as a crack in their armor was the Diamondbacks were able to get into their bullpen and do some damage several times. So if this team can be patient, take those long at bats, weather the storm of some of those really good starting pitchers when they face a team like the Padres, they hopefully they've already seen what they can do once they go up, because that starting pitcher can't pitch 120 pitches. They're not going to get complete game shutouts, no hit all the time. There's going to be a time where you can get into their bullpen and make some noise. They did it in this series, and hopefully that builds confidence in them that they can do it. Ketel Marte, though, defensively, I mean, that's one of those things that they pointed out on the broadcast tonight about him, like doing a little hop every time the ball's hit at him in a certain direction. That's like
Yeah.
just straight up
It's
bad
weird.
mechanics.
Yeah.
It's bad,
Yeah.
it's a reactionary thing. I don't know if that's something that he started doing in center field to get a good break on it, but it's not something that's working right now for him at second base.
The mechanics of playing center field and the mechanics of playing second base are drastically different. So I think what Brett mentioned earlier about, maybe this has something to do with the fact that Ketel's been playing center field for a couple of seasons now and hasn't gotten as much time at second base. Maybe it'll take him a while to kind of get his infield instincts back. But yeah, certainly something to watch moving forward. I wouldn't panic or anything about it just yet, but something to keep an eye on for sure.
It is another situation though, Jesse, that starts to feel like, man, parts of this team, once again can get going and other parts can't, right? They got themselves
Yeah.
so far behind. And again, giving up 4 runs when you're up 10-1 is nothing to the Padres, but that's still an impressive effort by the Diamondbacks to battle back that much. And I know I'm grasping at straws here for optimism, but I'm just saying again, like I thought the little offensive, run that they had in the ninth was impressive, to be honest. And I wasn't expecting it. I was expecting them to roll
Yeah.
over, accept this huge deficit, this huge loss, and just move on, try to flush it and forget it. They battled back. And most importantly, we got to see a wonderful moment, which if you're a fan of this team, those might be the things that you need to hang on to this season, instead of really getting excited about a lot of wins and them doing
Well,
something.
you're the one who said they were going to win 82 games
Oh, I
about
know.
3 days ago,
I'm
Derek.
a
So
fucking maniac, Jesse. But hey, at least they proved me right that one day. But this goes back to Cooper Hummel hitting his first home run in his first hit as a major leaguer. That just doesn't get any cooler, man. I mean, it doesn't get any
that is pretty
more
cool.
memorable than that. And we love Cooper around here. We were excited about him being a part of this team. Unlike some of the other trades that a lot of people have talked about today, including the one that brought Caleb Smith here. I love Starling Marte. But with that being said, Cooper Hummel is our king of the game, our DraftKings king of the game for that home run that he got. Walk, 3 RBI. Great day. Great opportunity for him to build here on this day, this performance. build that confidence, and hopefully we see him continue and see him do big things.
I think he has some potential, especially at the top of the lineup. We've seen how patient he can be. If he can just find a way to, get good wood on the ball a little bit more frequently than he has so far,
Yep.
you could see him having, a nice career. He's able to play some different positions defensively, and given the fact that he's as patient as he is, it certainly makes the margin for error with his bat a little bit wider. So excited for him moving forward.
And people are clamoring in our comments for Carson Kelly to get in the rotation. So, let's see that happen. Mark Solera says, wow, Derek, that's a great shirt. Where did you get it from? Mark, you know what you're doing, pal. You know where I got this shirt. This is our brand new PH. Look at this bad boy. I love this shirt so much.
It's beautiful.
It's, of course, super comfortable and amazing. And you can get it over at PHNXLocker.com starting tomorrow, my friend. Starting tomorrow. And if you're not already a member, you can sign up to become a member at GoPHNX.com and get this shirt for free, motherfuckers. That's right. This shirt for free over at the PHNXLocker.com. Also, while you're there, you sign up, GoPHNX.com. Jesse's going to have some brand new writings tomorrow about this team. I don't know how. He might be a little angry. He might be a little salty. You might want to check that out over at GoPHNX.com. Also, if you haven't signed up already, you'll get members only discounts at the PHNXLocker.com, as well as join our members only Discord, where we're going to start a bingo game and give away sticker packs and t-shirts in the members only Discord.
That's a great idea.
That's how we're going to spend this season here at the PHNX Diamondbacks family. So sign up, join us. If you're not interested in the annual membership, you can get a month-to-month membership, and you'll get your first month for just 50 cents. And also, go over to our friends at the DraftKings Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up there, you can get down on the NBA play-in action. Not only can you bet $5 on any team to win, you will get $150 in free bets instantly. It doesn't matter who wins. You'll get that money just for betting $5 on any team to win in the NBA play-in tournament. DraftKings, of course, is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. All DraftKings Sportsbook customers can bet on NBA hoops with same-game parlays by combining multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you win. Plus, for each day of the play-in tournament, get a risk-free bet up to $10 if your same-game parlay doesn't hit. By the way, you know who's not in the playoff play-in game? The Phoenix Suns, because the Phoenix Suns are the best team in the NBA. I got to do a shortened version of that, but download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PHNX. Bet $5 on any NBA team to win their game during the play-in tournament and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code PHNX at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. 21 and over only. Arizona only. Gambling problem? Dial 1-800-NEXT-STEP. New customers only. New customers only. They messed up. I don't have my thing here, Jesse, but I know that restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. The rest of my ad read is gone, but that's fine. You guys know what to do over at the DraftKings Sportsbook. We thank you guys so much for joining us today to vent, to be in our comments. We love you guys so much. And yes, Josh, that the idea about playing bingo in our
we do like the idea.
Who is he's a well of good ideas. It's an endless well, and we thank him for being, we thank you, Josh, for being a part of our family. But of course, we thank you guys for checking out the show, whether you're watching, whether you're listening. We thank you so much. You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at cap_caveman with a K. Jesse is at Jesse N. Friedman. Our show is at PHNX_DBacks. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're listening to us right now on your favorite audio podcasting app, please subscribe to us there. Leave us a 5-star review if you feel we deserve it. We thank you so much for listening. If you are watching right now on YouTube, please go over and subscribe to the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. Sign up for notifications. That way you don't miss any of the content coming out from the PHNX Sports team. We got some talented folks over here, and you can read their stuff over at GoPHNX.com and watch their stuff over at that channel. Again, sigh of disappointment, sigh of relief that the Padres are moving on. We have an off day tomorrow, but we'll still be here. We'll be here talking and previewing the Astros series tomorrow on another live episode, not to mention the fact that we will be once again doing a Mailbag Monday episode live. So we hope you guys join us for that. We thank you again for checking out the show. On behalf of Jesse and myself, we appreciate your time. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when you bet on it.